Virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants. You know that?
Listening to Trump talk about economic principles is like my dog teaching calculus.
They're eating the dogs.
Sorry, buddy. You see, people with any kind of advanced education, and I mean junior high school, they laugh at Trump, and therein lies the problem.
I love the poorly educated.
Americans are stupid, and those stupid Americans have a leader.
Immigrants, they have a phone app so that people can come into our country. These are smart immigrants, I guess, because most people don't have any idea what the hell a phone app is. But they do. These are very intelligent immigrants.
And that tiny little brain might spell the end of everything.
But I want to get your take on your economic policy. First, debt and deficits, because you've said you want to eliminate taxes on tips, eliminate taxes on Social Security, on overtime pay, ending the double taxation of Americans living abroad, a proposal to make car loans interest tax deductible.
That was said.
You said that in Detroit. You even introduced this 15% corporate tax rate for companies who produce in America and hire American workers. But how will you pay for it? The Committee for a Responsible Budget says your plans will increase the debt by $7.5 trillion.
But they don't know.
The Wall Street Journal said that your plans will increase the debt and deficits more than Kamala Harris's.
If I do this, you're going to have car companies coming back to the country because of the taxes and the tariffs. The tariffs will protect them when they come in, so they will protect from other companies coming in, because if the other companies don't come in, they're going to have to pay massive tariffs. And that's it. I'm going to put a 200% tariff on every car, and you're not going to ever sell them into the United States, because if they ever built those plants, Detroit is finished. South Carolina is everything's finished. So I said, here's what you're doing. They think they're going to go over there, build the biggest plants in the world in Mexico, right opposite us, and sell them in. Not going to happen. They have it mandated that all cars will be electric. It's they don't go far enough. And as soon as I started talking about what I'm going to do, they stopped building all of the plants in Mexico. I said I was going to put tariffs. To me, tariffs are a very beautiful word. It's a word that's going to make our country rich again. Without tariffs, we have a busted country. We owe $35 trillion.
But what about the criticism, and the Journal has done this as well, that if you do put something like a 200% tariff on a product, that it's only going to mean higher prices for consumers?
No, it's not. No, it doesn't mean that.
It's got to be passed on somehow.
No, right. All I'm doing is saying, I'll put 200 or 500, I don't care. I'll put a number where they can't sell one car into the I don't want them to sell the car, because I don't want them hurting our car companies. When I use 200, I'm using it as a number. I don't want their car.
So your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it, so you're not going to actually push prices higher.
I never, until now, I said 200. I'm using that just as a figure.
But you say 200 a lot.
Oh, I'll say 100, 200, I'll say 500. I don't care.
Trump never answered Bartiromo because he's dishonest and, more to the point, incapable. He doesn't understand the question, so he could never give her the answer. But he does know his supporters don't know a GDP from an STD, so Trump can say anything, and they'll just nod their heads and go, he's smart.
I know words. I have the best words. Yosemites, Nambia. Thailand. Ooh, there was a mosquito. I don't want mosquitoes around me. I'm a very stable genius.
But he's a psychopath who, while threatening 200 to 500% tariffs, knows he will never do that to protect American businesses because he doesn't care about you.
I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
But let's play this out.
Trump seems genuinely confused about what tariffs are and who pays them.
We're taking in billions and billions of dollars in tariffs that China is paying for.
Nope. Tariffs are not paid by the other country. They're paid by the American importer, with the cost typically passed on to American consumers, as even Fox Business pundits have to admit.
Remember, tariff is a tax. Tariff is a sales tax.
Now, targeted tariffs on specific products can give American-made goods an edge over imports. But there's no strategy behind the tidal wave of tariffs Trump is proposing. He's talking about making you pay 60% or more tax on everything imported from China.
All right, so let's look at this. If Trump really prevents cars from China being sold here, Republicans will claim some kind of win. But China car sales in the U.S. are less than 1% of what Americans buy. Trump states that U.S. auto manufacturers will make more cars to pick up the slack. And that means there'll be more jobs in the auto industry because of the demand. But unless Trump puts a tariff on Korean, Japanese, and European cars, why do we assume Americans will buy American? Did you know the United States is the largest car importer in the world, bringing in more than 235 billion in passenger cars last year?
China.
But only 1% come from China. They could do it now, but they don't because imports are competitive. But will Americans buy American cars if they're not that much better and not cheaper? I mean, they could now, but they don't because imports are competitive. And look, inflation is a regressive tax, hurting the middle class and poor proportionally with higher costs. But back to China. In 2022, the U.S. imported more than $500 billion goods from China, making it the top supplier of U.S. goods imports. If we put tariffs on Chinese goods, they're going to do the same. That's as sure as Melania has her own bedroom. That could double or triple the cost of these goods in the U.S. And if U.S. companies try and make those goods instead, if they can, they'll have to charge more because of the labor costs here. You follow me? Trump's plan is a child's plan. We're going to show you, but we're the ones at risk. Last year, the U.S. exported $200 billion in goods and services to China, which was 10% of our country's total exports. China will most definitely put a tariff on those products, which means reduced sales here and fewer jobs here. And then who's going to buy all those American cars?
That is crazy.
There's a reason why Trump went bankrupt 6 times and owes nearly $1 billion in fines and penalties, and why no bank other than Russia will lend him money.
Here's how Dodson remembers the conversation.
I said to Eric, well, you're the head of his golf services development company. Who's funding all this growth? Because nobody else in America is doing it. I said, which American banks? And he said, we don't rely on American banks. We don't need American banks. We have all the funding we need out of Russia.
He's a lying sociopath.
We could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment.
And if Tiny Fingers really starts deporting 11 million people like he promises, that will destroy the labor markets in both agriculture and manufacturing, adding both a recession and inflation. And hey, this isn't just some liberal asshole like me telling you this. It's Goldman Sachs and CNBC saying it. Trump has no idea what he's talking about, and it's dangerous.
We'll carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history.
Putting aside the horrific moral consequences, this would make the whole economy collapse. There are more than 1 million undocumented laborers in construction, over 1 million undocumented farm workers, and about 1 million undocumented food service workers. What do you think will happen to the price of food and housing if these workers are suddenly deported?
You see, Trump's contribution to the U.S. economy was to lower tax rates for corporations from 35 to 21%. And that's trillions lost in revenue, leading to an increase in our national debt and higher taxes. Not for Trump and his fat cats, but for you.
I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
It's a guaranteed loser. Trump is a poker hand with a pair of jokers. We are, however, a queen-high straight flush. The only way we lose is if we don't play.
Goddamn right.
I'm ready. Let's go.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Trust me.
Shut the f*** up, Dan.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.